antiderivatives. The process here is totally the opposite of differentiation. So this is why we call it anti. Here we will look at a function that its derivative equals to our function. So we will have a function, so the function will be given for us. We will not find the derivative. No, we will find a function, f capital, the antiderivative, that if we differentiate, we will get our function back. Okay? So this is the relationship between the antiderivative and the function, that the derivative of the antiderivative equals to the function itself. And of course, since the derivative of any constant is 0, we can add a constant, always. This is what is called the most general antiderivative. It is any antiderivative plus a constant. We have solved these examples in the previous class. This is the most important part that you need to remember, Shabab. The table of antiderivatives. So this is the function, this is its antiderivative. It is also okay to recall it like integrals, like this. Let's say like this one. What you will do in MATH102, you will write this as the integral. This one, how can we represent this? We will write it as the integral of 1 over square root of 1 minus x squared dx, which means with respect to x, equals to sine inverse x plus a constant. So this is the antiderivative of this function. Okay, so it means that this is the function, this is the antiderivative, the most general antiderivative, which is the integral. We solved these examples in the previous class. Remember that you can use, of course, some initial conditions given for you to solve differential equations. You can also, we did this at the end of the previous class, how to obtain the graph of the antiderivative from the graph of the function. And let's solve this example. I think we did it. It is the last example, yes. So let's finish this. I think we didn't finish it in the last class. So if you read this problem, it is related to the linear motion. When you have an object or a particle that moves on a straight line, and you remember, ya Shabab, you have what is called, what we usually have in these kind of problems, you have the position function as a function of time. If you differentiate it, you will have the velocity. If you differentiate it again, you will differentiate the velocity. You will have what is called the acceleration. Now here, what we will do is the opposite. We will have the acceleration, then we will find the velocity, then we will find the position function. And in this case, you should recall that the acceleration is the derivative of the function, and the derivative is the velocity is the derivative of the position function. So this is what we are going to do here. What do we have? We have the acceleration. So this is what is given. A of t equals to 6t plus 4. And I know that the value of the velocity as 0, so it is the initial velocity, is negative 6 centimeters per second. And its initial displacement, s of at 0, it is 9 centimeters. Okay, centimeter, don't worry about the units. Now, what do we want? The question is what? Find its position function, s of t. So we need s of t in general at any time t. So this is what you are looking for. So what we will do, guys?
Find the antiderivative.
What we will do? What is the acceleration? The acceleration is v prime, the first derivative of the velocity. So this is what we did. I just write instead of a the velocity. Now, to find the velocity, I will find the antiderivative of this. So let me write it down here because we don't have much space. So the velocity is the antiderivative of this. Yalla Shabab, what is the antiderivative of this?
3t squared.
C
3t squared plus 4t plus c.
Over 2 plus, what is the antiderivative of 4? 40.
Plus
Just differentiate. If you differentiate this, you should have this. If you differentiate this, you should have that. Plus Mr. C. Don't forget Mr. C here. But with the help of this condition, we can find the particular antiderivative. So just put t equals to 0. So if you put t equals to 0, this will be 0 plus c. And what will be V at 0? V at 0 is -6. This will give you that C equals to what? -6. So let's update our velocity now. Our velocity will be 6 over 2, which is 3, plus 4t minus 6. So this is not what we want. We want is we want the position function. So we will find the antiderivative of this one, because you know, Shabab, this is the derivative of the position function. So the position function will be, you will just add 1. So this will be 2 to the power 3 over 3. So it will be what? 3 t to the power 3 over 3 plus 4 t to the power 2 over 2 minus the antiderivative of 6. It is what? 6t plus Mr. Constant. Let's call it D this time, because we have C. You can call this one C1 and this is C2. Now again, when t is 0, S is 9. So this will be 9. This will be 0 plus 0 minus 0 plus D, which means that D is 9. So now the acceleration function that the position function that we are looking for is, at the end, this is what will be our answer. S of t will be what? 3 over 3 is 1, so it will be t cubed. 4 over 2 is 2, so it will be 2 t squared minus 6t plus 9. This is the position function that satisfies all of these conditions. Satisfy this, satisfy these initial conditions also. Any question, Shabab? You should, ya Shabab, be happy to have questions from this section, because the questions of this section are clear, easy, and the grades should be guaranteed. You at least you will have one question from this section, if not two. Okay, let's now go to the old exams. These, of course, some the suggested homework and recitation problems. Let's go to practice some old exams. Yalla, Shabab, I will give you 2 minutes to solve this old exam question. You have the derivative and you have the value of the function at 1. You need to find the original function. What is f here, if the derivative is given? Take here, Shabab, please take a pen and paper and start practice. And I will launch a polling for you to choose. Yalla, Shabab. Okay, we have like 8 students only. It is not difficult, Shabab. Just simplify the function, find the antiderivative, then use the condition that is given for you. I think it is enough. Let me share with you. Choose now, Shabab, if you want to choose. let me share with you the results. ما شاء الله يا شباب، انتم بتوزعوا الاختيارات على كل الاختيارات ما شاء الله. The answer, the most of you, they went with choice C, and I think it is the right. If I'm not wrong, it is the right answer. Yes, it is. This is good. So at least 13 students know what is the right answer. So I need one, ya shabab, of the 13 students that who got the right answer to help me with. Abdullah?
Yes.
يلا يا عبد الله. عبد الله
Yes.
يلا يا عبد الله. ايش سويت؟
نفرق الكسر.
So the first step is not to go directly. طبعا you don't know يا شباب what is the antiderivative of this. It is not easy. You cannot do that. So what you should do, as Abdullah is suggesting, he said that Abdullah, he will do what? He will distribute the numerator over the denominator. This is what you meant, Abdullah?
Yes.
So what it will be? It will be x squared over x.
Over x.
Plus square root of x over x plus 1 over x. Is that what you are talking about?
Yes.
Okay. So what do we have? What we will have here, Abdullah?
X.
We will have x here. And here?
X. Power
it is
half.
x to the power half over x to the power 1. So it will be x to the power half minus 1. It will be x to the power negative half.
Yes.
X to the power negative half. Good. And here?
1 over x.
X to the power negative 1. Can we write it like this? Is it okay, Abdullah?
Yes.
Now you are ready to find the antiderivative. Yalla, Abdullah, what is the antiderivative?
X square over 2 plus x half over half.
It is negative a half plus 1 over negative a half plus 1. It is a half. So it is a half over a half. So what it will be? It will be, let me just, I prefer to write this always like this. And add here. In the next step, simplify. Good. What about this?
Ln x.
Why we don't do this? We add also 1 and divide by the new power. This will be 0. So you will have x to the power 0 over 0. It is undefined. We said that the power rule, the antiderivative, when you add 1 over this, n cannot be negative 1. So in this case, don't write this as x to the power negative 1. Write it as 1 over x to avoid this mistake. It is not a power function here in this case. It will be ln the absolute value of x
plus c
plus Mr. C. طيب. Thank you, Abdullah. You are right. Excellent. Any other students, Shabab? Do we need to write absolute value here? Shabab 13. Do we need to write absolute value here, Shabab? If you notice that there is no absolute value in the choices, is it a mistake?
No problem, Doctor. You can do it.
Why? Why no problem here?
Because the number inside the f is 1.
No. It is. Why
because
can't put anything here?
we have
Look
the
at the
domain.
domain. What is the domain of this function, Shabab?
Positive.
Yes, x here, because of this denominator, x cannot be 0. Because of this, x greater than or equal 0. So, but it is not equal 0. So the domain of this function, Shabab, it is x greater than 0. So x is positive, no need. But if you write it, it's okay. But you should always write it. You should always write it. But after that, ask yourself, is x positive? If x is positive, remove it and keep it just ln x. If x is negative, for all x, write it as ln of negative x. If you don't know if it could be negative, it could be positive, keep the absolute value. Good. So now I think, Shabab, what is left is to simplify the function now. So what we have here, we have a half of x squared plus 2, a half when you the reciprocal, it will be 2, and this will be x to the half, which is root of x. Apply x without absolute value because we said that x is positive, plus c. Now you can see clearly that this is not a choice. but these are maybe choices. Plus 2, this is not a choice, this is not a choice. So this will be cancelled, this will be cancelled. This is might be choice, this is might not be choice, this might be choice. So you are left out with C or E. C or E. لاحظوا ان احنا الآن without knowing, it could be just C or E. Without knowing, without using this. Before using it, you can know. You are now between C and D. So I don't know why the students choose A and B and D. Now use this condition, ya shabab. When X is 1, what you will have here? You will have a half plus 2 plus what is len 1? Len 1 is 0 plus C. And what is F at 1? F at 1, it is 3 over 2. Now this will be equals to 5 over 2 plus C, 3 over 2. And of course, this means that C equals to 3 over 2 minus 5 over 2, which is what? 3 minus 2 minus 5 minus 2, negative 2 over 2 is negative 1. So this means that this is the right choice. They are the same, just here it is minus, here it is plus 1.
Doctor, I have a question. Can I ask you?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Doctor, if I have function with x square root on the numerator and the denominator 1 plus x squared, can I make it x square root multiplied by tan inverse?
When you have it like this, Turkey,
لا, the opposite.
the opposite, like this. So,
Yes.
so what?
Can I make it the antiderivative? Can I make it x squared multiplied by tan inverse?
Why? Who said that we have a formula for the product? يعني الآن سؤالك الآن يا Turkey, let me write it here. Your question is, if you have a function multiplied by another function, is the antiderivative of the function will be the antiderivative multiplied by the antiderivative? Is this your question? بأنه
Yes.
عندك x squared multiplied by 1 over 1 plus x squared. هذه خلينا نقول ان هذه هي h of x. هذه هي h of x اللي هي عبارة عن this multiplied by this. The question, what is the antiderivative? The antiderivative of this function, what is it? Is it the antiderivative? Is it x to the power 3 over 3 multiplied by tan inverse? This is your question. Should be like this.
Yes.
The answer is no. If you went back يا Turkey to the table, يا شباب اذبحوا بقرة. اوكي؟ لا تسألوا عن أشياء لم تبدأ إن تبدأ لكم تسؤكم. هذا اللي راح تاخذوه في ماث 102. احنا فقط لحد الآن أخذنا لما يكون عندك constant مضروب في function. ولما عندك function plus a function. في هاي الحالة الانتي ديريفيتيف تقدر توزعها تسويها زي ما انت. لكن ما ذكرنا يا شباب لما يكون عندك rational، لما يكون عندك function مضروبة في function، when you have a product of two functions, it is another issue. We will call it the integration by parts. You will take it later. And when you have rational function over rational function, you have also many techniques that how to find the antiderivative. What we are doing here, Shabab, we are studying the basic antiderivatives without doing any tricks. So if you are interested in question in mind until Math 102 and you will find the answer there. You can do it. Look, I can solve it for you now if you are interested. Where were we here? So now how to find the antiderivative of this? X squared over 1 plus x squared. To find the antiderivative, ya shabab, what you are going to do, it is like you are doing the integral. So this is the meaning of finding the antiderivatives. We are not talking about integration here. What you will do later, it will be x squared plus 1 over 1 plus x squared dx minus 1 طبعا. We will add just a 0, but a hero 0. And this will be equal to the integral. This over this, it will be 1 minus 1 over 1 plus x squared. Look what we will have here. Now, what is the antiderivative of 1? It is x. What is the antiderivative of 1 plus 1 over x squared? It is tan inverse x plus Mr. C. This is the antiderivative. Okay, but we will not ask you now questions like this. Okay, so you can find the antiderivative by this way.
Doctor.
But this is not our topic. What we are doing here, we will do it directly by using the table that you have. You have a table, you have rules, apply these rules. We will not ask you more than that. Good. Now, I'll give you Shabab 2 to 3 minutes to solve this. Yalla. You have the second derivative. You need to find the value of the original function at 0. And what is given also for you, the value of the function at 1 and the value of the function itself at -1. Say Bismillah, Shabab. Take paper and pen and start. This one is not solved in your slides, so we will solve it together. Yalla, Shabab. And I will launch a polling for you. Look, it is basic function. You don't need to do anything. Just let me relaunch the polling. Continue. Good. Yalla, Shabab. You have the second derivative. You need to find the first derivative, then the original function. You are playing, ya Shabab. You are not choosing. The students who choose right now, I know that they are playing. They are not serious at all. You cannot solve this question in a few seconds. Unless you are a magician, not a mathematician. Please, ya Shabab, grow up. Take a pen and paper and start practice. Otherwise, no need to guess. Because we are not now in an exam or a test that you must to choose. No. Just try to use your knowledge to check if you understand or not. Okay, Shabab, few seconds and we will end the polling. What do you want, ya Turkey? You are raising your hand.
Sorry, Doctor, by accident.
Yes. So let me end the polling, ya Shabab, and share with you the results. Again, as usual, ya Shabab, mashallah alaykum. A, B, C, D, E. And the answer, most of you, they went with choice D, and it is the right answer, I think. Yes, it is D. Good. So let me stop sharing and start, ya Shabab, asking the students who choose D, how you did that. I need new students. You need the new students يا شباب. We had let's take Adnan this time. Adnan.
أول شيء we find the first antiderivative, which is
Let me go back to the question. So we will find the first derivative.
Yeah.
What is it?
which is 6x to the power 2 over 2 plus c.
X to the power 2 over 2 plus c, which is 3x squared plus c. Thank you. Now this is the first derivative. Is there any condition about the first derivative here? Look at here. Do we
No,
have
there
the
is no
value of the derivative at number? No, we don't. So we will proceed. Thank you,
Find
Adnan. Now what
the
we will do,
function.
we will find the original function. We will find the antiderivative of this. Turkey, what is the antiderivative of this, Turkey?
3x cube divided by 3
Plus
cx plus d.
Plus d, ahsant, which can be simplified to x to the power 3 plus cx plus d. Excellent. Now this is the
I
function.
have an opinion, Doctor. Could I ask you?
Yes.
From this question, it's clear that he asking for d. Can I, when he substitute by 0, all of them will be 0. Can I go directly and find d?
I don't get your point. No, you cannot. Because here you are not substituting by 0. You are, if you put at the function, the value of the function at z, you need to know what is d. Assume that this is 0, this is 0. What is d? So this is my function now. My function, if I put f at 0, I will get 0 plus d. What is d? How to know that d is equals to 1? وصلت الفكرة يا تركي؟
clear.
كيف تعرف ان ال d هي ال1 مش negative 1 أو 2؟ So you cannot do that, of course. So now what we will do يا شباب, we will find the value of the function at 1. We will use these conditions. أول condition بيقول لي إن ال f at 1 is 0. So what does that mean? If this is 1, it will be 1 plus c plus d equals to what? Equals to 0. This means that c plus d equals to -1. Is that right? So this is the first equation that we have. Now I will use the another given condition, that is the value of the function at -1, it is 0, which means that if I put x equals to -1, so what we will have? -1, negative c plus d equals to 2. Equals to 2, not 0. Thank you. Equals to 2. So this is equals to 2. This means what? That negative c plus d equals to, move this to the other side, it will be equals to what? To 3. So this is the second equation now. What do we have here, Shabab? We need to solve these together simultaneously. Now we need to solve this one as a system. So we have a system here of two linear equation of two variables. What we will do, if you remember, just so you will use the elimination or substitution. It is easier here to use the elimination. Just add these two equations. C plus negative c, it will be 0. D plus d, it will be 2d, equals to -1 plus 3, which will be what? 2. This means that d equals to what? D equals to 1. So we have the first value. Now you can say yes. No need to find c, خلاص. But of course you can find c from the first equation. It will be -1 plus d -1, it will be -2. It will be -1 minus 1, it is -2. But no need. As I said, if you bought now, let me do it for you in general, how to find d in general. See, now our function will be x cubed minus 2x plus 1. Now the value of the function at 0, because he may ask you about the value of the function at other numbers. You need to find c in that case. So you will have now 0 minus 0 plus 1, which is 1. Excellent.
Doctor?
Let's go, Shabab. Yes, you have a question?
Is there another method of finding d without the system?
How to do that? If there is a, please give us if there is a way. Of course, here you have, no, you don't. You have, ya Shabab, here the value of the function at 1 and the value of the function at -1. It means that you need to solve two equations. If he gave you here the derivative and here the function, it will be easier. But now you need to solve the system. Don't avoid the Shabab solving system. It is just 2 by 2, 2 by 2 linear system.
Doctor,
Yes.
can't we say that D equals -1 minus C?
Why?
And then
D
replace
is 1.
yes, and then replace C in the second equation with the value that we came out with.
I didn't get your point. What you are asking
In
about?
the first equation, can we say that D equals -1 minus C? And then in the second
I don't
equation,
know how to do that.
okay.
I don't know how to do that. You can do it. Halas. You have this conditions. Use these conditions. These are the equations that you have. Do whatever you do, Shabab. But of course, be careful that you are doing this in the right way. What happened? Can you see the slides, Shabab?
No.
No.
Let me share, stop sharing and share it again. So discard, stop this, discard. Let me share it again. Now let's go to the next question, Shabab. I think this is clear. Do we have other questions? Oh, I think this is the last one. So this one is a little bit different, but it is much easier, of course. What do we have here? We have the antiderivative. He gave you the antiderivative, and he wants the value of the derivative of the original function at 0. Easy and very clear. So what we will do, Shabab? Anyone?
Find the
What's
derivative.
the idea?
Derive twice.
Create antiderivative.
And the
عبد الله
second
عبد الله
derivative.
سعود ايش نسوي عبد الله؟ نايف نايف
If we
If you want-
differentiate the antiderivative, we have the function.
ايش الريليشن يا شباب؟ What is the relationship between the antiderivative and between the function؟ ايش الريليشن between them؟
It's the derivative.
Of the anti.
نواف العمري the derivative of the antiderivative is equals to the original function. هذه relationship
Yes.
between them يا شباب. إذا عشان أجيب الفانكشن من الانتيديريفاتيف أسوي differentiation. فلذلك قلت لكم يا شباب this question is easier because you don't need here to find the antiderivative. You need here to find just differentiate. So what we will do here, we will find just the derivative. So f prime f of x is equals to the derivative of the antiderivative. This is the definition of Shabab. Now what is the derivative of this? It will be the derivative of cosine is negative sine 5x. The derivative of 5x is 5. Here it is. So write it here at the beginning. Negative 2 to the power x, its derivative is itself multiplied by the derivative of x plus 1. The derivative of x plus 1 is 1 multiplied by len 2. Len 2 plus c. Do we have c here, Shabab?
No, it's 0.
The derivative of c is 0, so plus 0. There is no, we are differentiating, Shabab. Now he wants the value of the derivative at 0. So what we will do, we'll find the derivative at 0. Oh, we don't have the derivative. So what we will do? We will find the first derivative. Differentiate again. So the derivative of sine is cosine 5x. The derivative of 5x is again 5. So this will be negative 25. Minus 2 to the power x again itself, len 2, and again multiply by len 2. So it will be len 2 twice. Plus, of course, 0. Now this is the derivative. The value of the derivative at 0 is cosine negative 25 times cosine 0, which is 1, minus 2 to the power 0 plus 1, len 2 all squared. This will be negative 25 minus 2 to the power 1 is 2, len 2 to the power 2. And clearly the answer is A. So be careful, Shabab, and if you have a look at the old exams, you will see that most of them with the same ideas. Look at these old exam questions. Most of them are solved. I solved the ones that they are not solved. Similar to what we did exactly. I think all of them now are solved. Just the ones that were not solving, I solved it for you. طبعا يا شباب, you can go also and practice the old exams before term 161. The link is already in the Blackboard, so please use the link that I uploaded for the old exams in the Blackboard and to practice more. Now I think it is time to go to 4.7 to practice again some problems. Unfortunately, we don't have much time. We will practice more next class, inshallah. So don't save. Let me go and share with you the slides of 4.7. 4.7. But before that, ya shabab, I'd like to share with you, to ask you some questions. I did with the previous section, so I think it will not take time with you. You know, ya shabab, next class, inshallah, we will have our last quiz. But let me ask you this question. I already know the answer, but just let me make sure about it. Do you want, ya shabab, to have one more quiz, or it is enough? So do you want to have quiz number 14 plus 15 next class? Yes or no? Yes or 13 quizzes are enough? Quickly, please, ya shabab. We don't have much time. There are still 9 students they didn't choose. So 9 students, they have no idea, no opinion. Okay, let me end the polling and show you the results. So we have 20 students say yes and 12 students say no. And now let me ask you another question. It looks like, mashallah, here you are a little bit, many students, they don't want the quiz. In the previous section, most of the students went with choice yes. Let me launch another polling, ya shabab, for you. Let me ask you another question. When do you want to have quiz number 14 and 15? Do you want to have it Thursday during the class, or you may want to have it at night, on Saturday at night, 7 to 8 or 8 to 9 or 8, no, the last choice, it should be from 9 to 10. It is the same choice. The last choice is from 9 to 10. Okay. So for those shabab who want to have the quiz, also I already know that what will be the answer, but just I'd like to make sure about that, because I know that from the previous section also. They went, most of them, they went with a specific choice. I think the situation will be similar. طبعا you know our last class will not be Thursday. Our last class will be inshallah Monday. طبعا if we had the quiz on Thursday, I will calculate the classwork grades and send them to you inshallah, or announce it in the class on Monday. We don't have class on Sunday because Sunday is normal Wednesday classes. Let me end the polling and share with you the results. So most of you, they went also with Thursday during the class, and we will have it inshallah Thursday during the class. Thank you, Shabab. And if you have any comments or any question before going to practice 4.7. Okay, 4.7, Shabab, if you remember, can you see the slides, Shabab? It is about the optimization problems, how to find the optimal case. It is important, Shabab, to understand and read these guidelines. These steps will help you to solve. So first of all, you need to understand the problem. How to check that you understood the problem. Ask yourself, what is unknown? What are the variables? What are the constants? What I need to find? and what are the given quantities and what are the given conditions on these quantities. Draw a diagram. It will be better and clear for you if you have a diagram. And also introduce your notation. You use the usual notation X, Y, Z, and so on, and focus on the quantity that you want to maximize or minimize. Ask yourself, I need to maximize what? Minimize what? What is the function? Then focus on this function, express it in terms of the other quantities that you have. Then if it is expressed in more than one variable, try to eliminate one of the variables, and at the end you should have it as a function of one variable only, like f of x. You cannot solve it when it is two variables in this course, of course, but later you will be able. So we solved this about this example, if you remember, in the previous class, and this one and this one. I have noticed something, Shabab. Most of, I think all of the old exam questions are similar to the examples or to the exercises of your textbook. So we found this. I think we didn't solve this one only. This is the only question that we didn't solve. Let's solve it. Let's see. I have noticed also that in the old exams, there is no question similar to this. It is long, by the way. It will take 5 minutes from you to understand it. So let me help you to understand this. I already read this one, and I can summarize it for you. It is about a man. He has a boat, and he wants to go through on the boat through the river or completely from A to the point B. So his target to go to B. He can go through the river, or he has an option to cross the river and then run, or of course the third option that he can go to some point here. He can, they call it, they row by using his boat to a point here, and then he could run to reach this point. So what do we have here? The width of the river is 3, so this is 3, and he 8 kilometers down the opposite bank. So this distance from here to here, from him to this point, the horizontal distance is 8. So here it is. And this means, ya Shabab, that he could run to here, he can go through his boat to here or to here. So we have a variable quantity here. This distance, the stop point, it will be different. So we will call it X. We will call it X, and we will take one typical. Let's say here, he will stop here, and then he will run. So this value or this quantity will be variable. It could be here, it could be here, it could be here. So it is a variable. Let's call it X. And of course, the distance from here to here, it will be 8 minus X. The distance from D to B. Then what else is given for us? That he said that he can row 6 kilometers per hour. So here is his speed when he is on the boat. It is 6 kilometers per hour. When he run, it looks like he has a bad boat. It is not fast. He can run 8 kilometers per hour. So I think it is better for him to row for a while and then run. So he can run faster than what he can row. So the question is, where should he land to reach B as soon as possible? So what we want here, do we want to maximize or minimize?
Minimize.
Minimize what?
The time.
The time as possible. So what is the best point that he will reach here, and then he will run? So now we should focus on the time, how to find the time. And you know, Shabab, that I said this is 8 minus X. Here we need the relationship here. You know, Shabab, this one by using Pythagorean theorem, it will be the square root of X squared plus 9, because this is the right triangle. Now you have the distance, you have the speed. This is the speed of rowing, and this is the speed of running. So you remember, Shabab, that the time, because we need to focus on the time. The time is the distance over the speed. So now we have 2 times. We have a time for 2 speeds. We have 2 speeds, so we should have 2 times. So a time, the rowing time and the running time. It will be the distance of rowing over the speed, and the distance of running 8 minus, he will stop here and then he will run 8 minus x over 8. Now the sum of them will give me the total time. Let's call it t of x, a function of time. Now it is خلاص, if you have this function, shabab, you have everything. Just apply the derivative, find the derivative. Why t here? Why the domain is 0 and 8? By the way, why? Because if he didn't run, he's just bowing from here to here. So here in this case, this means that x here is 8, 0. I mean, x is 0 in this case. And if he just crossed the river and then run, x in this case is 8. So x is between 0 and 8. I think I explained it here. Yes. Then differentiate, find the first derivative, put it equals to 0, solve it, find x. This will give you the distance that he should row at the point that he should reach when he bowing, and then after this point he will run. And of course you need to find the value of the function at the end points, because it might be better to use this. And look at the values approximately. You want to minimize, so you will choose the minimum. This is the minimum. Usually it will be at the critical number. If you want to maximize the time, of course, we will choose t equals to 0, which means that he will just bowing, he will not running. And this is, of course, an example that we already solved, Shabab, if you remember. Unfortunately, we don't have time. Maybe, Shabab, you can look at the video. I have solved some problems with the previous section. Let me just go quickly with you, and let me end the show like this. If you look at this, the shortest distance between this point and this line, it is similar to example 3. Example 3 is harder than this one. We solved, I think, this one with you in the previous class when we studied 4.7, how to find the number. It is very common, by the way. And when they ask about numbers, it is not difficult, it is easy. This is a given function, it is clear. When you have a material similar to one, just the shape is different here. You have a cube here or a square box, it is a cube. When you inscript a rectangle inside a triangle, and what else? These are all of them are solved. This is, you can look at this. It is the same example. I don't know why they give example in the old exams. The same example. So it is important to focus on the examples of the book and the exercises. I think I have this one. Yes, this is what I want to solve. I did solve this one with the previous section. So please just have a look at the video. I will erase your video and keep them their videos. But if the time is up, Shabab, you can leave, of course. But let's solve it together. What we have here, we have a right circular cylinder. And this is also similar to exercise number 32 in your textbook. In their textbook, they give it for general, in general, for H and for R. Here he gave you R and H. So we have what? We have here, we need to know, we have the height of the right circular cone. So we have a cone. This is the problem. We have a cone. Let's say this is the cone. And let me change the color. What he told you about the cone, he said that the height of the cone is 4, and the radius of the base is from here to here, it is 2. Now what we have, if you read the problem, we need to inscript the dimensions. We need to find the dimensions of a right circular cylinder with the maximum volume. So we need to maximize the volume. Do you remember, Shabab, what is the volume of the cylinder, circular cylinder? What is it?
1/3.
No, this is for the cone.
It is the area of the circle multiplied by the height.
Area of the base multiplied by the height. So this is what we are going to have. So let's say this is the circular cylinder that we have. This one. When we say inscript, it must be at the edge here. Now let's say this is the height. This is the height of the cylinder. Let's Shabab, use y and x. Usually we prefer to use y and x. So this is x. So instead of this, I will use x and y. Okay, طبعا you want. Now, this is a function of two variables. I need to find the relationship between x and y. I want it at the end to be a function of x or a function of y, one variable only. So how to find the relationship between x and y, Shabab? Yalla, think about it. How to find the relationship between x and y. I like, by the way, I spent like 20 minutes yesterday to solve this one because I didn't see question like this before, but I found after that it is not difficult. And you need just to think about how can I relate y and x.
Like
طبعا you
rectangle.
should recall يا شباب, your circle, your cylindrical circle could be here, could be like this. So you have another quantity that is here a variable. This quantity, it will be changed. And what is this? If you look at it, what is it? This one is shabab.
It's right triangle.
It is 4 minus x. Am I right? Any question, any idea shabab? We don't have time. مين اللي عنده فكرة شباب؟ نواف.
It's the similarity between two triangles.
الله يرضى عليك يا نواف، ما شاء الله عليك، ما شاء الله عليك. لاحظوا يا شباب إنه هنا look at this triangle هذا الكبير يا شباب. What do we have here? We have this is 4, this is 2. Now look at this smaller one. Let me look at this smaller one. اللي هو هذا يا شباب. What do we have here? We have here x, and here we have what? 4 minus x. Am I right? 4 minus y. 4 minus y. So this is about 4 minus y. I did a mistake here. You didn't correct me. It is 4 minus y. Now, by the similarity of the triangle, the ratio between this side and this side, يعني 2 over x equals to what? 4 over y, 4 minus y. To the ratio between this side and this side only. Now use this ratio between these two sides to have what? 8 minus 2y equals to 4x. Solve it for y. يعني 2y will be equals to what? 8 minus 4x. Divide by 2, it will be 4 minus 2x. Now once you have this relationship between x and y, you can go back here and find that the volume will be the value of the function, a value of a function of x, and it will be by times x squared instead of y, right? 4 minus 2x. خلاص, you are done. You have the function. Now simplify it. Write it as 4 by x squared minus 2 by x cubed. Now differentiate it. Find the first derivative. Put the derivative equals to 0, and you will solve it. You will know what is x and what is y. Thank you, Shabab, and see you inshallah next time. Let me stop recording.